So it looks like the last couple of weeks in Manchester City's transfer window are going to be quite interesting. We have quite a few rumours of players leaving the club, quite a few rumours of players coming into the club, and it all seems a little bit up in the air at the moment. And I'm going to be today bringing you some of the freshest news on Manuel Akanji, Ederson, Donnarumma, and Rico Lewis, as they are some of the transfer stories which we've seen some updates on in the last 24 hours. And as of now, we have no idea what is actually going to happen in the remainder of the transfer window. However, in this video, I'm going to be bringing you up to speed on some of the latest updates on those situations, and on top of that as well, I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and opinions on all of the transfer news flying around at the moment. And let's start off with the big one, the one that has kind of exploded a little bit today, and that is the Manuel Akanji situation. And just to give you a little bit of a rundown how this one has gone, it all began a couple of days ago where it was reported that Galatasaray have made an official offer to Manchester City for Manuel Akanji, with negotiations now underway. The players' representatives will travel to Istanbul this week to meet the Turkish club. And I think at that moment, a lot of Manchester City fans kind of brushed it off as, you know, just a little bit of a transfer rumour, because there has been a lot of links of Manchester City players to Galatasaray this window, and none of it has really materialised. However, it all became that little bit more serious when Fabrizio Romano posted this right here, saying that Galatasaray approached Manchester City for Manuel Akanji as potential target at centre-back. Galatasaray also speak to players' agent, decision also up to Akanji, who has not made any final choice yet. And then it was followed up the next day with more information, this time from Rob Dawson at ESPN, saying that Manchester City have not ruled out allowing Manuel Akanji to leave amid interest from Galatasaray, but only if their valuation is met. And today it came out from Santi JFM that Manchester City's valuation was £18 million for Manuel Akanji. Galatasaray are claimed to have made a verbal offer for £15 million, with discussions scheduled tomorrow between the clubs and Akanji's agent. And then today, Fabrizio Romano also came out saying that Galatasaray are on a mission in the UK to try and advance for Manuel Akanji deal with Manchester City. Negotiations underway with both Manchester City and player side. Agreement still not reached. Manchester City are open to selling Akanji as Pep Guardiola wants squad to be reduced. And then this is all where it got a little bit interesting, as it came out that Galatasaray are closing in on agreement with Manchester City for Manuel Akanji's permanent move. £15 million fee has been agreed pending final details. Galatasaray will submit their proposal to the player in the upcoming hours to try and get the deal done this week. However, I said it was interesting, and this is the reason why it was very interesting, as Manuel Akanji decided to take matters into his own hands, as he tweeted under Fabrizio Romano's post saying that he did not know anything about that. And that is very interesting, because Manuel Akanji may well actually have been out of the loop in terms of his own transfer. I mean, it's quite wild. Fabrizio Romano may have actually reported something on his transfer that he didn't know about and brought it as news to him by him reading Instagram. Yeah, that might have actually happened. And after that, Fabrizio Romano tweeted doubling down on his position, saying that after club-to-club agreement, Galatasaray will make their offer to Manuel Akanji in 24 hours. No proposal on the table to the player yet, and currently no indications from Akanji on intention to accept destination. Deal agreed between clubs, but not done with the player yet. And right now, my personal thoughts on the situation is that Manchester City should take the money for Manuel Akanji. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. I think that Manuel Akanji should be sold from Manchester City, not because I don't think he's good, not because I don't rate him, I don't appreciate what he's done for the football club, but the reason why is because he's coming into his 30s now, and he's only going to devalue with time, and we can still get a decent fee for him. And I personally believe that the club should bring in a right back this window, and if we lose Manuel Akanji, I think that that could prompt us to actually attacking the window for a right back. And the targets that I think Manchester City should go after in that position are young targets, and the two that I would be looking at personally would be Javero Reed from Feyenoord, a player who has been absolutely unbelievable in that right back role for them. Looks like a top talent and could be one of the best right backs in the world going forward. Or I would go for Wesley from Flamengo, a player that we have been linked to at the beginning of the transfer window, a very promising right back for Flamengo. So for me, personally, I would look at those two as options. They are relatively affordable. They're young players. They have bright futures. And I think that they would very much replace the role in which Akanji would leave, or the hole that Akanji would leave in the squad. But let's move on to the next story of the video, and that is the Ederson Donnarumma transfer saga. Ederson is currently being very much rumored to Galatasaray, and then on the flip side, you've got Donnarumma, who's very closely linked to be coming to Manchester City. And we've got a couple of updates on the situation, and let's bring you the latest news. And let's start with the Ederson situation, as it has come out that Manchester City are still optimistic over a deal for Gianluigi Donnarumma, remaining in talks with PSG and his agents. The Italian is very keen on a move to Manchester City, and personal terms will not be a problem, but it all depends on Ederson and Galatasaray, where talks are currently ongoing. And on specifically Ederson, Fabrizio Romano came out with this quote right here, saying that I'm still told Galatasaray are working on Ederson, negotiating with Ederson's agents and with Manchester City about Ederson's fee. This remains the case. And for me personally, I think that this transfer will happen ultimately. I think that the proof is really in the pudding in terms of not being available for the first game of the season. Ederson apparently was injured. That was what Pep Guardiola's been saying. However, I personally don't believe that. I think that there's more going on here. It's a little bit too fishy for me. It's a little bit too coincidental that Ederson is feeling ill on the first day of the season when he's very strongly rumoured to be leaving to Galatasaray, and Manchester City are very strongly rumoured to be signing Gianluigi Donnarumma. It doesn't add up to me, or it could happen. It could be the case. I'm not calling Pep Guardiola an outright liar, but I do think that he was protecting Ederson, and I do think that he was not available because Manchester City are going to bring in Donnarumma, and they are going to allow Ederson to join Galatasaray, and his headspace is currently not in the space of playing for Manchester City. And so on the flip side, I think that Gigi Donnarumma will be coming to Manchester City, and the reason why I believe that is even more so from the quotes that we've seen in the last 24 hours from Fabrizio Romano, as we have seen quotes saying that Gianluigi Donnarumma is patiently waiting to go to Manchester City, and an agreement on personal terms is almost okay, with very positive conversations over a contract. Manchester City and PSG's conversations this week are advancing quite well, with it also coming out from Fabrizio Romano as well that Donnarumma is ready to go to Manchester City. He's attracted by this possibility. Donnarumma is prepared to go there, is prepared to compete. He's prepared to do his best for Pep Guardiola. The player is absolutely super keen on a move to Manchester City. I just don't personally believe that comes out if Ederson is not making it very clear that he wants to go to Galatasaray. And it all just adds up to me. It all makes sense. Ederson didn't play the first game of the season. Donnarumma has come out with a statement online basically saying goodbye to the PSG fans. And now it's ultimately been rumoured by his agent that he's very much keen on moving to the Premier League. All of the news is coming out surrounding Manchester City and how much he wants to go to the club. Negotiations are ongoing. And while that is all happening, Ederson is negotiating with Galatasaray. So for me, all of the chips are stacking up in one place, and it is the place of Gigi Donnarumma joining Manchester City this transfer window and Ederson joining Galatasaray. And for me personally, look, it's a little bit of a strange one. I would not have predicted this at the beginning of the window, with the fact that, you know, Donnarumma has left PSG because Luis Enrique didn't like the way he played out from the back. He thought he could get a goalkeeper in Chevalier who plays out much more comfortably from the back the way that Enrique wants. Pep Guardiola is a very similar manager to Enrique in the way that he wants his goalkeeper to play out from the back. So it is an interesting transfer in that sense. However, I do feel like there's an element of the club being responsible for this one, because we don't know how long Pep Guardiola's got left at the club. And the club could be planning for the next 3, 4, 5 years. And this transfer, with Gigi Donnarumma still being a very young goalkeeper for what he's already achieved, Gigi Donnarumma could stay around at Manchester City for 6, 7 years. And ultimately, I think that that's what the club are looking at. I think they're looking beyond Pep Guardiola. And while it is a little bit of an interesting and not really what you would think would be the typical signing in goalkeeper for Manchester City, it makes sense from that point of view. And I think, look, it's unfortunate for Trafford. I thought he had a really good first game in Manchester City colours. But ultimately, Gigi Donnarumma is the better goalkeeper. He's much more established. And if the club feel like that they're going to lose Ederson, the number one coming into the season, then I think they're going to bring in Donnarumma as the number one to replace him. And to round off this video with a little bit of good news, we've had the recent rumours about Rico Lewis going to Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest bid 25 million for Rico Lewis a few days ago, which Manchester City subsequently turned down. And today we've received some good news on the Rico Lewis front, as it has come out from Fabrizio Romano today that Rico Lewis has agreed to sign a new deal at Manchester City valid until June 2030. The agreement is now done. Deal off with Nottingham Forest after City rejected the £25 million bid last week. And ultimately, I think this is a good move for Manchester City. I think Rico Lewis is a very good squad player. I was very impressed with him in the game against Wolverhampton. I think he was looking a bit more like a man. And I thought he had a good performance. And I do think that overall, while, I'm still unsure of, his position long term in terms of, is he a right back? Is he a central midfielder? Is he an attacking midfielder? I'm still not really sure where he's going to play and be a part of the City setup going forward. But as a squad player, I think he is a very useful footballer. He's very good in tight spaces. He's got very good close control. He makes very intelligent runs. And overall, I think he's a very good City-style player, and especially under Pep Guardiola. So I think that that's a good move. I think tying down Rico Lewis on a long-term contract, having him a part of the squad, being a very good squad player, I'm happy to have him at the club. He obviously bleeds City, and ultimately, really good news. So I guess we're going to have to watch the space. We're going to have to see how the Manuel Akanji situation grows. I fully expect him to join Galatasaray, if I'm being completely honest, which in my opinion means we should be going out and recruiting at least another defender, if not a right back. In terms of the Ederson-Donnarumma situation, I think Ederson will join Galatasaray. Donnarumma will come to Manchester City. And then on top of that, obviously, there's the Rico Lewis situation, which we've just discussed. He's just penned a new contract, and that is great news for Manchester City. So let me know what you guys think of all the transfer updates in the comments below. Let me know what you think of the Akanji, Ederson, and Donnarumma situations as well. Let me know if you're happy to see Rico Lewis stay at the club too. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, peace.